Hey people, it's nice talking. I always like to do these science run amok stories, and this is from technologynetworks.com. Well, first genetically engineered moth is released into an open field. The diamondback moth, also known as Brutella xylosella, is one of the most destructive insect pests of brassica crops such as cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, and canola. Resistance of the moth to synthetic insecticides has been reported in numerous parts of the world, and in extreme situations, crops have been plowed and declared unmarketable. The threat of the pest is considered particularly significant, particularly in China, as the Chinese cabbage is one of the country's significant vegetable crops. The diamondback moth is a global pest that costs $4 to $5 billion annually, has developed resistance to most insecticides, making it very difficult to manage, says Dr. Neil Morrison of the biotechnology company Oxitec. To circumvent the issue this pest poses, Oxitec have developed a genetically engineered diamondback moth that is self-limiting. Morrison told Technology Networks 2 genes, a self-limiting gene and a marker gene, are introduced into insects such that it can pass them on to offspring just like any other gene. The resulting self-limiting moths are non-toxic and non-allergenic. The idea behind the genetically engineering moth is that when the males of this strain are introduced into the environment, they find and mate with pest females. The self-limiting gene is passed on to the offspring, which then prevents the female caterpillars from surviving. A new study published in Frontiers in Bioengineering and Biotechnology outlines the world's first open field release of Oxitec's moth, or any genetically engineered moth for that matter, and suggests this method is both effective and sustainable for pest regulation. The study was led by Professor Anthony Sheldon in the Department of Entomology at Cornell University, Agritech in New York. The open field test adds to the published work by Sheldon, in which his team demonstrated that sustained releases of self-limited strains are able to suppress pest populations and prevent the development of insecticide resistance. Our research builds on the sterile insect technique for managing insects that was developed back in the 50s and celebrated by Rachel Carson in her book Silent Spring, says Sheldon. Using genetic engineering is simply a more efficient way to get to the same end. Sheldon's team adopted a mark release capture method in the study, which has long been used to study insect movements. Professor Sheldon's team in Cornell conducted releases of self-limiting male moths alongside non-modified male moths. For the center of the trial field planted with cabbage, trials throughout the yield were set to capture a proportion of released moths, and because they were marked with colored powders, we were able to track their dispersal and lifespan in the field. When released into a field, the self-limiting male insects behave similarly to their non-modified counterparts in terms of factors that are relevant to their future application in crop protection, such as survival and distance travel. In laboratory studies, they compete equally well for female mates. The researchers' mathematical model also suggests that self-limiting strain of diamondback moth will be sufficient to control pest population without the need for supplementary insecticides. The researchers declared the experiment a success. When Technology Networks asked Morrison if there were any challenges encountered, he said, "The studies went very well, aside from the usual challenges of fieldwork, such as collecting traps in the rain and mud." He continues, "The study demonstrates the immense potential of this exciting technology as a highly effective pest management tool which can protect crops in an environmentally sustainable way and is self-limiting in the environment." On the practical applications of the study, Morrison says, Oxitec is currently validating where farmers will benefit most from the solution, after which would follow further studies to demonstrate the effectiveness of the approach to protect crops against this devastating pest. We asked if there are any other agricultural pests to which this approach would be applicable. Morrison said self-limiting mosquitoes have been deployed in Brazil, Panama, and the Caribbean, successfully controlling populations of Aedes aegypti, which transmits deadly diseases like dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever in multiple cities and towns. He continued, Oxitec has now joined the fight against malaria, working to develop solutions to 2 malaria-transmitting mosquito species in agriculture. The self-limiting approach is being developed in a number of target pests, including the fall armyworm, a caterpillar which is native throughout much of the Americas, but in 2016 arrived to West Africa and has since spread throughout sub-Saharan Africa and to Asia, expanding its devastating impact on agricultural productivity. Well, how about that? An insect from the Americas, lands in West Africa and is now devastating crops. And for those of you who followed what I was saying in an earlier video about locusts in East Africa, this is a nice link up. Anyway, I'm going to leave this in the description. And if you want to support my channel, I'll leave my GoFundMe there. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'll leave that there as well. Please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.